everyone, and welcome. I do love a little bit of baking and drinking, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
Excellent. So, lovely Alana, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
Now, we have got lovely Maya standing by, and we are going to do some dinner party inspiration. Now, I know you're in gorgeous shape and you train, but you also enjoy food.
Yes, lots of food.
Excellent, excellent. So, one of my pet hates is party pies. The store-bought ones that you get, those little cheap, crappy ones. And I think we rely on them because they're so quick and easy, and we can just, even the kids love them, and you can just get them out. But it is definitely not a sign of making an effort, and people are never going to give you a round of applause for that. So I thought I would show you my version of the party pie.
Fantastic.
Now, we're going to do two versions because they're so quick and easy, you can actually just do two. We're going to do a sweet offering and a savoury one. Now, this is fantastic for upcycling leftovers. Now, when we get to it, so what we're going to do is, I've got some store-bought puff pastry. Now, of course, I will do an episode on how to make your own puff pastry, but making your own puff pastry is actually very easy, but we're not going to worry about that today. So here is some that I've gotten from the supermarket. This is a frozen block. It is not the most glamorous thing you've ever done. I like to show you, though, with these frozen ones, you can literally just rip them off like that, and in our climate, within 5 minutes, they are probably going to be ready to use. All right, so popping those out. And what we're going to do is, the sweet version, you will often have apples.
Yes.
So you've got apples in the fridge.
We often have a lot of half-eaten apples.
Well, that's perfect. We are going to be able to upcycle those. So with the sweet version, I've got these, and those are nicely defrosted, and you can see that they're defrosted. I've just got this gorgeous, and I've got a blue tray because we like blue.
Yes.
And I've even got blue flowers in your drink, so cheers.
Cheers.
And that's just water, so we are being responsible.
Yes.
Although it could have been gin. Could have been gin. So what we've got here is onto that lovely baking tray, and I've got the oven preheated just on 180. Actually, I had it on a little bit hotter. Let's just put it down to 180. And generally, this could be, you could prepare this even a few days in advance. So you're a busy mom, you train, that kind of thing. You could have this even in the fridge or the freezer, even up to a week in advance. So you could really be very well planned. So with this one piece of pastry, I'm actually going to cut this in half, leaving one side a tiny bit bigger than the other. So you will find as this gets warmer, this pastry will become nastier to handle. So keep it chilled. So if it's stretchy and all sorts, it's not your fault. It's just a bit warm. All right?
Okay.
All right. So right onto that sprayed, and I don't use baking paper. This little bit of canola spray or whatever, even just a bit of butter on there will be absolutely perfect. Now, what we've got here is, this is a store-bought thick custard, but what we're going to do is you can make your own. We have, just in here, you can have an egg wash, but I find with an egg wash you have to crack open a whole egg, and I'm just way too cheap to do that. So any protein in the fridge, this is cream, but a plain yogurt or even just good old-fashioned milk will be fine to stick this bad boy down. So I'm just going to coat or brush just along the outsides here, and that is going to be enough to keep our little pie intact. So of course we could be making two of these alongside each other, but I thought we'd just start with the one. Now the custard, the recipe I'm going to give you, and you can make your own, is really stodgy. And I know that doesn't sound very cheffy. I want a stodgy custard, but we do not want a beautiful pouring custard because it's going to ooze.
Yes.
And oozing is messy, and oozing is stressful. I want a custard that when I blob it in the middle, it has to stay and do just that.
Perfect.
It's got to stay there. Now, I always admire people who put more in there because I respect that. But because it's not my first time, I know that less is sometimes more.
Yeah.
Now, beautiful, these are just Pink Lady apples. You can use whatever ones you have. But if, say, peaches or any stone fruit, if they are in season and you just don't have an apple, apricot, yes. Even figs would be lovely, but peaches and pears and all sorts are absolutely lovely to put in here. And as you can see, we're not going to cook this fruit.
No.
Because I even leave the skin on because I'm lazy. And if you want to start, I'll keep cutting. And if you just line them up just like that, not even perfectly, and
Yeah.
If your apple was really large and your pastry was really small, I would just put them on the diagonal.
Okay.
So you don't have to start cutting and all sorts. So
Perfect.
you pop that in there. I don't think we'll need much more. So if you think about it, so far what we've used is about 3 tablespoons of that lovely custard, and you can just eat the rest out of the jar. Because
someone else
yeah,
will.
or someone else can. And then what we got is 1 apple and the 1 sheet of pastry. So that is not expensive. So we're going to finish just with those lazy slices. And, you know, people don't have to know we were lazy.
No.
But they'll know that we were clever. So there we go.
As long as it tastes good, people don't care.
No, people don't care. And you can lie to them and say, oh, no, it took me all day and I'm a pastry chef and all of that. They don't have to know that it was easy. So here is our top piece. And as you can see, I've just left it on the paper. I am going to put a little bit of flour, or I've got some icing sugar here, because this is a bit warm. You saw me stress a bit there.
Yeah, a little
there was
bit.
some internal panicking. When I fold this over, and this is the top, this is actually a classic French pastry called chaloussi, which is apple pie. Now, that would have a homemade sauce, and like I said, I'll give you the recipe for that, but this is just, you know, when you're in a hurry. We need to lattice, it's an apple lattice pie. And I always say to people, don't underestimate serving a beautiful apple pie at a dinner party, because if it's done right, you can win them over. All right, and coming into winter or even served cold, this is a fantastic dish. So you can see there we folded it in half, and this is the actual fold side. So for that, we've still got that sharp knife, and all we're going to do is pull nice, neat cuts through there. So the minute it gets warm, we're going to have to adjust our cut. You can see I'm just doing a easier cut there, because it's definitely getting warm, so keep it nice and cool. But what I've done is I've left the same border around there that we have over there. Now, this is where we need to transplant the pastry. All right, so no panicking. We're going to take that off, and we're just going to transplant this. I don't open it up until I'm actually over here, so just pop it over there, and then we open it up. Now, you see why I put that little bit of so it could have been flour, it could have been a little bit of the icing mixture, and we are just going to put that on there. And now we adjust it. So literally, like I said, this could have been done in advance and be sitting waiting in your fridge or freezer.
Oh, easily. That's good.
If it was more stable ingredients, and of course, if you're going to use tinned apples, people might not respect your skills as much, because why don't we just use a beautiful fresh apple? Everyone has them. And if you don't have one, ask the neighbor.
Yes.
Or check the lunch boxes. There's always an apple in there. Now, even though that's a little bit messy, do not fear, because I can trim it. I don't even mind if it looks rustic, because then I can charge more money for it. But also you can do, like Nonna used to do with the edges, is just a fork and press it down.
Perfect.
Yeah, so but I don't want to cut into my new, so I'm just going to karate chop on, I don't want to cut my new blue baking tray with the knife, so we'll just poke that down. Now, because this is a sweet dish and our pastry is not sweet, we will make it sweet. So again, just brushing with that, this is cream, but like I said, it could be egg wash. It could also be milk or the plain yogurt, not strawberry yogurt, just plain yogurt watered down.
Did you do a Greek yogurt?
Yes. So you would take a tablespoon of Greek yogurt, add a little bit of water until it made a paint. I like to show you with whatever you have, you know, in the pantry, because it's just too stressful if, you know, you've got to do exactly what the recipe says. I always say the recipe is a little suggestion.
It's a guideline.
It's a guideline. Now, to make that sweet, I've got some naughty white sugar here, good old-fashioned high kilojoule El Cheapo white sugar. And this would be best if you popped it into the fridge or the freezer for just 5 minutes, just to get that pastry cold again. Puff pastry is always, and they'll say it on the container, best baked from frozen, and you're like, how on earth do I do that if I'm chafed it? But what they're saying is, don't leave this out in the sunshine with your croissant or your bread dough. It's got to be nice and cold, and it'll bake much better. Okay. So when this comes out of the oven, we can just serve it like this, but it will be best if we use, and I've said in your recipe, you can have apricot glam, maple, or honey. We're going to get that nice and warm, and I've just got some random strawberry jam here, and I've put it in the microwave so it's nice and warm and loose. We're going to glaze it with that, and then I'm going to show you how to make a glacé icing. And then we're going to pimp this up with, it's a surprise. I'll tell you what we're going to pimp it up with in a minute. All right, let me put that in the oven, and we'll be right back. So now while that's in the oven, just to finish off our sweet one, and this is the beautiful glaze that's going to go over the top, is I've got some icing mixture, and of course I don't measure, but it's about a cup of the icing mixture, and I never like to say how much water because it changes every time. So even if you are highly skilled at baking, you will know that if you put too much water in, you have to get in your car and go buy more icing mixture. So even, and I always like to live on the edge, even I'm careful with this one. So just a couple of tablespoons of nice swear word hot water, and that's out of the kettle. And here, we're going to get that into a nice smooth paste. I'm going to add some tasty vanilla. You see, you can even do this with a baby on the hip, with a child on the hip. All right, so vanilla, some water. That is too thick, so let me add a little bit more, and that is hot water, like I said. And let's hope that that wasn't too much. You see, I'm lucky. I've got a whole stash of like a kilo or so. So here we've stirred that, and like I said, you can do this in advance. If you have a nice little stir, we want it to really come off the spoon, and you can have that ready even in a squeezy bottle. So that was just the icing mix. I snuck in a little bit of the vanilla bean paste, and of course you could do an almond essence or something as well, depend on what you like. You could even put a little shot of espresso in there, although it would obviously change the color. Now, while the other one, the sweet one, is in, and this is our party pies, is we can work on the savory one. Now again, I do the same thing. I've got the base, and I've got one a little bit wider than the other one. The wider one will form our lid. We just give that a spray. Oh, never forget the spray, because it can be quite traumatic when you're hacking it off there. Although we would hack it.
It's still more rustic.
It is more rustic. So here we are. If you can just brush that. Now, this is an opportunity for the savory one to go into your fridge and see what we need to use as leftovers. Often you would have roasted pumpkin, roasted sweet potato, something from the weekend that you can stash in your party pie, or if you've cooked during the week, because this is party pies would be more a weekend dish.
Any sort of curries?
Yes, you could even cold mince, even a cold curry or anything like that. Now what I had in my fridge is I had some beautiful cheddar cheese. I've also got some beautiful, from the roast, leftover chicken, and you would need some protein in your diet, but of course you could go completely veggie. I've also got a beautiful little double cream brie there, and I've got a random small little piece of goat's cheese, and I seem to have a lot of cheese in my life.
Yes, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So instead of having our thick custard, which we did for the sweet one, we are going to use some lovely cream cheese here, and that is going to be our sauce, so to speak. So because we have it now, of course you could make a beautiful cheese sauce, and you could pimp it up with lots of pecorino and parmesan if you had the time. And of course I'll give you a recipe for that. Yes. But say you were just doing this on the fly, and people were just about to come over, and you just had like even one slice or two slices of store-bought pastry in your freezer, we could get away with it. You can see I'm quite generous here with the cheese.
That's never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. And this here will ooze and melt into there. I just need to organize it a bit more without damaging the pastry underneath. Now, what we can do is if you want to just smush that chicken into there, and of course we have very clean hands, I'll also put in some of this ashed goat's cheese, because that we can tell our guests that that was an ashed goat's cheese. And that would sound $10 more expensive than any other one. Beautiful. And this would be a good one to do the day before, so that you wouldn't have to stress about it on the day. Now those can all go back in the fridge. I'm just going to wash my little hands. That looks perfect.
Done. Let's have more. There we go. Want some more than that, or is that perfect?
That is the best I've ever seen.
Oh.
Okay, so we will do the same. I mean it every time though. All right, so here we've got our lovely puff pastry. So to make sure this one doesn't stick, I can't use icing sugar on that one. I've got a bit of flour, and that is just so when we do the fold over, that this does not stick together. I always say flour is your friend when we're handling dough, because it'll help you stop everything sticking together. Because if this gets warm on the bench, it is a little bit stretchy and difficult to handle, so I want you to anticipate that and then not get stressed. So cutting this one just like we did the sweet one. And of course, we could do smaller ones. So this is just the lazy way. And seriously, I would probably do it even two pieces and just do the bottom part as a square and the top part as a square. And here we've got that gorgeous, we've got the chicken, we've got cream cheese, we've got a bit of the goat's cheese. Now, of course, into here, you could put a bit of truffle oil. You could even put, if you had caramelized, if you'd cooked down some mushrooms or something like that. I happen to have my mushroom dust, which is just a porcini mushroom that I've blended up. And that'll basically be absolutely gorgeous to add some beautiful mushroom flavor. And of course, you don't have to have that. I can drizzle this with a beautiful truffle oil when it comes out of the oven. So it just depends on what you have. So that I, again, will put it over here. Now, can you see why we do the bottom a little bit bigger is because we need that little bit of a stretch. So if you can help me just open that up. It's like making a bed, really. Right, and stick all that in. This can just be pushed down, and we just literally just adjust it. So it's got a bit of stretch in it. So now we make it look like a movie star, all perfect. And this just goes in the oven. So we're just going to press that down. And all that gorgeous cream cheese and all of my naughty cheeses that I stuck in there with the chicken, no one has to know that that was roast chicken from Sunday lunch or whenever you did it, okay? So a lovely way to upcycle your things in your fridge. Now we're going to give that just a little bit of a brush with, just to make it brown. So with pastry, when you're trying to make it brown, either egg wash, like I said, or the milk or the yogurt or whatever you had, we can't put the sugar on here. No. But what we could do is a beautiful Parmesan or Pecorino snow. So let me get some out the fridge. So what we've got here is I've got my microplane and I've got some sexy Pecorino. Now, a lot of people grate the rind in, but I always say, unless you go around your house licking candles, leave that rind out of there, people. So just here on the microplane, a lovely Pecorino or Parmesan snow. And that will be brown and gorgeous and add to our ridiculous amount of cheese that we have hidden in there with our chicken and cheese pie. All right. So like I said, that can go in the fridge or freezer, or of course, if you're in a hurry, you can bake it straight away. What do you think?
I can't wait to eat it.
Yay! So we'll get the sweet one out and pop that one in, and then we'll have to taste it, of course.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah. So there we have it. I have transplanted it onto this glorious black slate plate. Of course, you could actually do all the presentation stuff in the little tray we baked it in, but I like to transport it on here, then it's ready and done. Now, what we've got is that jam, and like I said, you could use maple, honey, apricot jam. I've got a strawberry jam that we've just warmed up in the microwave just a little bit, and this is to give it that beautiful like lip gloss. All right, so that sexy little shine. And of course, like I said, I get a bit of a better finishing with my homemade pastry, but this is going to be glorious. Now, not only is this adding valuable shine, but it is also going to add that little bit of flavor as well. So I always like to stick as many kilojoules into my desserts as possible. If we're going to be bad, let's be really bad. Now you have got that lovely vanilla glaze. Because we made this earlier, what you'll find is it might go a little bit hard. In that case, don't panic or start drinking excessively or anything. All we're going to do is a little bit of water and just bring it back. I would rather do that than battle. Now, just to finish this off, and of course we could serve it just like that, we are going to put a beautiful hazelnut dust over the top, which sounds very expensive. Yes. Now this is where the money shot can come in, because this not only tastes delicious, but it looks like one of those beautiful Danish pastries and a nice contrast as well. And don't make it too thin, because we want that white to stand out. And you can see I'm not being shy. No. I'm like, let's do this thing properly. And then, of course, you could take this with you to your next training and fatten up all your competitors. Oh, yeah. I would do that. Yeah, eat this. It'll be fun. And then some of the hazelnut. And that is just grated on the back of a microplane. And it's a really cheap thing to do, because you can see I used one hazelnut. And of course, if you have some, you can use some petals. You don't, I've always got petals. And these are dried corn flour. I'm using them because we're wearing blue today. And also, I have those lovely little edible butterflies, which I usually use as gin bling. Now these are rice paper butterflies, but I think we can get more money if we put those beautiful ones on there. And now this would be ready to serve either for an early morning breakfast. This is a potty pie on steroids, and we have our savoury one in the oven, ready to go.
Perfect.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm excited to eat them.
Excellent.
I have to have a party now.
We'll have to have a big party,
Yes,
a big dinner
huge
party.
party.
This is going to be perfect for your next dinner party or when you have friends round for lunch. Who cares? Let's celebrate.
Yes.
Let's taste. Oh my goodness, the smells are amazing. Now
So
we've
good.
already finished off the sweet dish. That didn't last a second.
Nope.
This is our leftover chicken. We've got the beautiful cheeses in there. And just to finish this off, and I did promise you some, a truffle oil. So just a bit of a truffle oil over the top here, just to sort of season that, because with our sweet one, we put a lovely glaze over it. So we do want a bit of that. Now, when we dish this up, and I've got this perfect, I use a nice black slate plate. You can, of course, just serve your party pies, smack it down in front of everyone and say, here, tuck in. But we always want that pause where they go, wow, this is very cheffy. So I've got some black peppercorns, which I've put into some just dairy cream. And what we're going to do is a very dramatic drizzle on the plate, so anyone can do that. I've also got out of my garden a little beautiful nasturtium leaf and a little small one as well, because we want to really make them think that they are very special to us. Okay. I've also got some parsley, which I'm going to chop up. And then we can serve them in the perfect slice. It's going to be amazing. So, party pies just got sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
They
Should we
look good.
taste? I can
Yes.
smell that. It's gorgeous.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
It's the truffle oil that's got me.
Yeah, there we go. I had you at hello. It's gorgeous. So easy. Yeah. What do you think? Now, like I said, this could have been small individual ones. And then everyone could have their own personal party pie.
Oh, this looks amazing.
Cheers. I'll drink to that. Oh, lovely. Cheers, everyone.